On October 7th, 2023, Saturday and the Jewish holiday of Simchat Torah, the terror organization Hamas launched a surprise large-scale attack on Israel. The attack involved thousands of rockets and violent infiltrations into communities near the Gaza border. 1,200 Israelis were murdered that day. Thousands were injured, and 250 were kidnapped by Hamas into Gaza, including elderly as old as 86 and a baby as young as 10 months old. October 7th events shook the very core of Israel and our global Jewish community. The war hasn't ended, and we are still living through the tragedy and the struggle every single day.
Acknowledging this date is essential for us to honor those who are not with us and feel the deep scars left on our people. Kol Israel arivim ze bazeh. All of Israel are responsible for one another. This ancient Jewish text reminds us of the urgent need to stand together in solidarity and resilience, to continue to learn and listen, to work towards peace, healing, and rebuilding, and to work tirelessly to bring back the hostages who are still held in Gaza.
We are now going to welcome up Gali to share her experience with October 7th.
As a teenager, we're supposed to be dreaming about the future, college, going out with friends, traveling, about who we want to become, about the adventures life will bring. On October 7th, I was dreaming about none of those things. All I could think about was whether my family, my friends, and I will be here tomorrow, when my home will be still standing. The sounds of sirens and explosion is something I will never forget. You can feel it in your chest, deep inside, like a constant reminder that life can change in a moment. I will never forget hearing my family from kibbutz near Gaza on the phone crying for help and not knowing if I'll never see them again. I felt so helpless. Every minute that day felt like a lifetime. In my worst nightmares, I never imagined something like this would happen to people I love, to people so close to me. Hearing about people I know being kidnapped or murdered felt like a horror movie. Every bad and a bad dream. I was hoping to wake up as fast as I could. The days since October 7 have been filled with sadness. Days of funerals, sirens, more and more names. So many good souls are gone. Today, I stand here, 1 year later, after a rough year of fighting together for our people who are still being held in Gaza, volunteering and helping raised in the north and the south. I'm feeling hope. With hope, we can help each other heal and rebuild. We will work together with kindness and understanding. Together, we can face any challenge and come out even stronger. So the memory of the victim will be a blessing. Aside the hope, we can never forget, not even for a second, about our 101 hostages who are still being held in Gaza, and do everything we can to bring them home.
Thank you, Gali. We would also like to invite Ben Poster to share as well.
After October 7th, I had a flurry of emotions running through my head. I had recently returned from a semester abroad in Israel, and I had two cousins who were living in Jerusalem. I was anxious to hear if all of them were safe, and once I had heard that no one had been hurt, thank God, I turned to see how my home community, Nashville, would respond to the tragic events of October 7th. In the days that followed, I watched many of the private schools issue statements regarding the war, but many of those schools failed to condemn the actions of Hamas. Some schools, such as mine, chose to remain silent in order to appear neutral. Seeing the responses of the community made me realize that as Jews, we have to stand up and advocate for Israel because no one will if we don't. In addition, the alarming rise in anti Semitism across the United States has caused me to find more now than ever comfort in the Jewish community. Whether it be my school's JSU or BBYO, I found these places to be spaces where people have the opportunity to voice the challenges they have faced in a safe environment. October 7th was a pivotal moment for me as a Jewish teen in the US that opened my eyes to the dangers of hate and anti Semitism. And I'll remember the events of October 7th for the rest of my life.
Open up your heart to all the one be alone tonight before our one and only, before our one and only. If your heart is my heart and my heart is everything, aren't we all part of one heart? So let your heart be my heart and our heart be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one heart. Open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only, before our one and only.
As we gather today, we want to take a minute to honor and remember all those we have lost, that have lost their lives either on October 7th or in the aftermath. May this flame serve as a beacon of remembrance, hope, and the unwavering bond that connects us all. This flame represents the light that persists even in the darkest times. Candles' light inspire us to connect and to support one another and to carry on the memory of those we lost with hope and love.
יזכור אלוהים את הנשמות התאומות של חללי הטבח, שמחת תורה תשפ"ד, את הנרצחים והנרצחות, אנשים, נשים, זקנים וטף, ובהם גם הזר וגם התושב, בקיבוצים, במושבים ובערים, בבתים, במסיבה ובדרכים, את אמיצי הלב, אזרחים וחיילים, שנחלצו להגנת היישובים, את לוחמי כיתות הכוננות ומוצבי הגדר, את לוחמי המשטרה וכוחות הביטחון, ואת אנשי כוחות החילוץ וההצלה. יזכור ישראל ויאבל על חוכמת הזקנים, על אהבת ההורים, על זיו העולמים ועל תמימות הילדים. זכור לנו את עקדתם ותעמוד לנו ולכל ישראל זכותם. אמץ אל תחסי דמם, ינוחו בשלום על משכבותם ונאמר אמן. May God remember the pure souls of the victims of Simchat Torah massacre of 5784, the murdered men and women, the elderly and children, including the stranger and the resident, in the kibbutzim, the moshavim, and the cities, in the homes, at the festival, on the roads, the brave-hearted civilians and soldiers who rushed to defend the towns, the emergency squad fighters and those posted at the fence, the police officers and security forces, and the members of the rescue teams. May Israel remember and mourn the wisdom of the elders, the love of the parents, the radiance of the youth, the innocence of the children. Remember their sacrifice and let their merit stand for us and for all of Israel. O land, do not cover their blood. May they rest in peace in their final resting place. And let us say Amen.
As we read the names of BBYO and Maccabi Tzair alumni, we are reminded of the unimaginable pain and loss that our siblings across our movement have felt since October 7th. May their memories be a blessing and continue to inspire us to come together as one community with our unwavering resilience in the face of adversity.
Staff Sergeant Guy Simchi, 20 years old, Maccabi Tzair Gedera.
Aviad Alevi, brother of Ido Alevi, Maccabi Tzair Gedera.
Captain Yotem Ben Sabat, 24 years old, son of Benny Ben Basat, former Maccabi Tzair CEO.
Kim Damti, Maccabi Tzair Gedera, 22 years old.
Noah Zender, 22 years old, Maccabi Tzair Rishon LeZion.
Raz Mizrahi, 21 years old, מכבי צעיר גדרה.
Captain Shir Elat, 20 years old, Maccabi Tzair Kfar Shmuel.
סיגל לוי, מכבי צעיר גדרה, 31 years old.
Niv Raviv, 27 years old, Maccabi Tzair Poleg.
ליאור אטום, 25 years old, מכבי צעיר חדרה.
Staff Sergeant Adi Leon, 20 years old, Maccabi Tzair Nili.
קפטן הראל איתך, 22 years old, מכבי צעיר פולג.
Vivian Silver, 74 years old, BBYO Red River.
Staff Sergeant Eli Gansi, Valentin Eli Gansi, BBYO France, 22 years old.
Jake Marlowe, 26 years old, BBYO UK.
Before we share the story of a BBYO alum who was the victim of the October 7th tragedy, let us take a moment to reflect on the impact this day has had on our community. This is not just a story of loss, but also of a life that was deeply connected to the same values and experiences we share as a BBYO community. As we listen, let us honor their memory by remembering the strength and spirit they brought to our movement, and by carrying forward their legacy of leadership, friendship, and a commitment to the Jewish people.
Kim Dante was a Chanicha camper and Madricha teen at the Gadara chapter of Maccabi Tzair Israel. Kim grew up in the Gadara chapter, which served as her second home, and she was dedicated, committed, and dominant in every role she undertook in the chapter. In her childhood and adolescence, Kim played on the basketball team of Gadara, a girl you couldn't miss or forget, with her sense of humor, sensitivity, maturity, and her curls and smile that accompanied her everywhere. Kim made sure that the teens of the chapter would take care of each other, bond together, and be the best they could be.
She was an anchor of love, laughter, and good friendship for her friends, her family, and everywhere she went. Despite all this, she was also modest and had an extraordinary inner calm. Kim was also part of the Maccabi Tzair delegation from Israel to the BBYO International Convention in Denver in 2019. On October 7th, she and her friend Omer attended at the Nova Music Festival at Kibbutz Re'im in the south. When Hamas terrorists arrived at the party, Omer and Kim managed to escape to a nearby shelter, but the terrorists had also reached there. Hamas abducted Omer to Gaza, and Kim was murdered in the shelter.
It is our obligation to remember those who are still being hostage in Gaza, already 365 days. It is our obligation to make sure they are not just numbers. They are men and women, parents, children, and loved ones whose lives and futures remain uncertain. By talking about them, we are not only keeping their stories alive, but are also calling for action. That's unite in demanding their safe return and a loud call and clear to bring them home now.
Omer Vinkert, Maccabi Tzair Gadara. Joyous and social, Omer's life has been filled with a multitude of circles of friends that he has developed through the years. In the third grade, Omer joined the youth movement Young Maccabi. Throughout his time there, Omer became a significant instructor, dedicating his time and passion to the Gadara branch. Through his volunteering activities there, Omer emphasized his commitment to making a positive difference in the world. Omer was abducted by Hamas at the Nova Music Festival and has been there held as hostage in Gaza since. Omer suffers from colitis, which is becoming more severe under the stress he endures each day. Hamas denies him life-saving medication, which he requires urgently. We are calling from here, bring Omer home now.
Acheinu kol Beit Yisrael, Acheinu kol Beit Yisrael, hanetunim b'tzara, b'tzara ubashivya, haomdim bein baya bashar. Acheinu kol Beit Yisrael, Yisrael Acheinu Kol Beit Yisrael הנתונים בצרה ובשביה העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה המקום ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה ומפלה לאורה ומשיבוד לגאולה השתה בגלה ובזמן קריב המקום ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה ומפלה לאורה ומשיבוד לגאולה השתה בגלה ובזמן קריב אחינו כל בית ישראל אחינו כל בית ישראל הנתונים בצרה ובשביה העומדים בין בעיה ובין ביבשה.
As we reflect on October 7th, it is important to remember that each of us experienced this day in deeply impersonal and unique ways. Some of us were in Israel, close to the unfolding violence, while others watched from afar, feeling helpless and worried for family and friends. These experiences, while different, connect us to the shared pain, fear, and hope for peace. Today, we come together to honor the stories of that day, stories that reflect the strength and resilience of our community. By sharing these moments, we remind ourselves that we are never alone. This struggle and that our voices, our actions, and our unity are a part of the healing and a fight for the better future.
Noah and Ido Halevi are members of the Maccabi Tzayir youth movement. Both are part of the Gedera chapter in Central Israel. Aviad, their older brother, was murdered at the Nova Festival during the terror attack of October 7th. Today, they are both serving as madrichim in Maccabi Tzayir. Noah is the coordinator for the third grade group, and Ido is a counselor for the sixth grade group. Both have been active members of the youth movement for many years. Thank you, Ido and Noah, for being with us today and sharing Aviad's story with us.
Hey BBYO, I'm Ido.
Hello, I am Noah.
We're a little emotional. We want to thank you for giving us the opportunity, as difficult and painful as it is, to share the story of our older brother, Aviad Halevi.
Aviad was at the Nova Festival on October 7th, where he was brutally murdered. He was 28 years old when he died.
Like most of the people in Israel that morning, we woke up early to the sound of the alarms. We went to the safe room trying to understand what was happening.
In those first hours, we didn't know anything about the festival or that Aviad was there. Our mom was in touch with our dad, who told her that Aviad was at the party. He said that they were talking on the phone, and he was trying to guide them to escape, but it wasn't working.
At 11 a.m., the contact with Aviad was lost. Our parents decided not to tell us immediately to spare us more worry, until they found out what happened to him.
As the time passed, the news became clearer. The fear for Aviad. By midday, our mom told us that Aviad was in at the parties, and that no one had been able to reach him. Everyone was trying to find out what happened to him through social media or people who managed to escape. But we had no luck. It was heartbreaking, and we all had a bad feeling that something terrible had happened.
That evening, we were told that Aviad didn't survive the attack. Aviad, together with his close friends, Suri and Omri, went to the festival, where they spent a magical night of dancing, laughing, and hugging, until everything changed in an instant.
When the rocket started, they tried to escape to their car, but the terrorists started shooting at them. Aviad was shot in the hip and Omri was hit in the chest.
They managed to reach their car and hide in a nearby forest, but sadly the terrorists found them before rescue could arrive and murdered them there.
Our Aviad had a huge smile that lit up every room he walked into. He was always optimistic, full of life, and he loved dancing and celebrating life. He rode horses, had a cow bike, graduated with a degree in economics, and worked in finance. Aviad was the best big brother. We loved spending time with him, and he used to call me princess. Just before he died, he bought a motorcycle and promised to take me for a ride. It's never going to happen.
A lot of times I wonder if it would have been better if Aviad had been kidnapped instead of killed. At least that would have given me hope that he might come back. Aviad, Omri, and Suri were childhood friends, and in their death, they stayed together, just like they were in life. It gave me some comfort to know that Aviad wasn't alone. I often feel like he's watching me over from above.
It's been exactly 1 year since October 7. Tomorrow, just a few hours from now, all the families who lost loved ones at the North Festival will gather at the Reem parking lot in the morning, at the exact time the attack started, to remember our loved ones, who miss Aviad so much, and not a moment goes by that we don't think about them. Life without them is insufferable. Keeping his memory alive is how we keep him with us, and that's why we tell everyone how special and amazing he was.
We pray that the hostages will return home soon and for the safety of our security forces. We hope this war will end soon. Thank you for listening and for being with us in this difficult moment.
Uri Zakai, a 25-year-old dual citizen of the United States and Israel, has dedicated his life to Zionism, Israel advocacy, and community service. After moving from Israel to Palo Alto, he became an advocate for Israel and Judaism on BBYO's Bay Area Regional Board. Uri spent a year mentoring at-risk youth in Beit Shemesh before embarking on 6 years in military service. As a tank officer in the IDF, he led troops on the Lebanon border and in the West Bank, as well as in the current war in Gaza, in which he participated in 2 hostage rescue operations. Due to a last-minute opportunity to advocate for his friend Omar Nutra, who is held hostage in Gaza, Uri couldn't join us live today, so we will be watching his recorded message from a few moments ago. We are grateful for his service and to hear some of his story.
Hello, everybody. My name is Uri. I'm a 25-year-old captain in the IDF, reserve captain. I'm currently visiting the United. Hello, everybody. My name is Uri. I'm a 25-year-old captain in the IDF, reserve captain. I'm currently visiting the United States to talk about my experience in the war and my hostage friend Omar Nautra. I'm currently just before studying, majoring in computer science in university, and I want to talk to you today about my story in fighting since October 7th. I've been in 200 days of reserve service after 5 years of serving the IDF. Just finished it 2 months before the war, and how BBYO led this to me. I'm a CRW 45 alumni, and I moved from Israel to the United States in my sophomore year, the end of my sophomore year in high school. I did junior and senior year here in Gun High School in the US, and I was introduced to BBYO very quickly. I got into my first event just on the first week of school here through a very nice fellow that approached me on the first day of school, and I said that I came over from Israel. After a few weeks, I planned my first event, which was, funny enough, IDF night. After a few months, I became chapter shaliach, and after 6 more months, I became regional shaliach in CRW. And that really sparked for me the understanding that I'm part of something bigger,
to be value-driven and to put my life on a value-driven track. So I went to a gap year to Shna She'ut in Israel. I served there. I worked with youth at risk for a year, and I served in the IDF another 5 years after that, being a tank officer. I just finished my service on August 23. And only 2 months later, while I was in Belize, did October 7th strike. And I was literally, after a day of swimming with sharks and being at beautiful beaches, I went to sleep with my girlfriend. She went to sleep, and at 11:30 my time, it was 6:30 a.m. Israel time, everything started. I got the push notifications. My younger brother is a tank commander too. He was stationed on the Gaza border. That weekend, thankfully, he was on leave. But because I just finished my service 2 months before the war, I knew a lot of people there. So obviously, I started checking everybody, what their situation is, and what's happening in Oteif Aza and the kibbutzim surrounding Gaza. After a few hours, I understood what was happening. I thought it was fake news in the beginning, especially if you guys know the picture of the burnt tank on the border, which was Omar's tank, and I'll get to it later. Then I thought it was fake news, and it took me a few more hours to figure out that we were at war. I did the most logical thing I could, the best thing I was good at, or the thing I was best at, you could say, as being a tank officer. At that point, I just finished my service. I got to Israel as quickly as I could, and my flight was totally donated by American funding. It happened because of Americans, great Americans from the Jewish diaspora, wanted to fund flights for IDF soldiers like me. And I, because of that, got to Israel very quickly. I fought up north in Kiryat Shmona, Metula, and Margaliot, and then border against Hezbollah for 4 months. Afterwards, I finished my service there, and I was discharged of reserve service for a couple of months. I came back to fight in Gaza. In Gaza, if I could talk about two experiences that were very meaningful to me. One was the humane way in which the IDF fights. I myself was given the mission after a week of fighting in Jabalia, which is a city in northern Gaza, to evacuate a family that was stuck in a house. And we stopped all our fighting just to make sure that they would make it safely into our vehicles. And the vehicles, that because of the family was inside the tank and inside another armored personnel carrier, we were sitting ducks. And because it was such a high risk operation, then we stopped the entire unit to cover us, to make sure everything went well. Connected to that, I'll add another story, is something similar. We were about to rescue another family that was stuck in the war zone. When we took them out of their houses, then their house, we searched the second floor, and the second floor had 2 tactical AKs and 4 hand grenades and 2 vests, and we understood that 2 teenagers of the family were hiding with their families, and they were actually Islamic Jihadi terrorists. And that's how far we go to be humane, risk our lives, even though we know those type of cases exist. And to add to that, I was a part of 2 hostage rescue operations. The first one being, unfortunately, of dead hostages from a tunnel in Jabalia. And 8 very brave special forces soldiers went in there when I was covering for them with my tank. Amazing people. They knew the risk of going inside, and they knew it was only bodies that they were taking out. But for them, it was so important to bring Israelis back home, even if it's only for burial, that they risk their lives. That's how far we go to bring our people home and to be humane. And the last story is that I was part of the Noar Gamani rescue operation. We were the first ring of defense for the Yamam operators to make sure that they get the least attention they could, although they had a very rough time. But we made sure to have a ring of fire, you could say, that was surrounding the Nutzirat camp, so the terrorists would come to us. At the end of our operation, I was waiting to hear what happened, because we did not know it was a hostage rescue operation. We just knew they were going into houses, and When I heard it was a hostage rescue operation, I only could think about Omer. This is Omer Nautra. I trained him as a tank commander, and he was kidnapped as tank officer on October 7th. Of course, I was very happy for the 4 hostages we rescued, but I was pretty shattered that my heart was pretty shattered that we couldn't get Omer home. And I just would want to tell you that I super appreciate everything that BBYO does as an organization, everything that the Jewish diaspora does to support us in these days and visit Israel and donate to us. And if I have one request after my 200 days of service for the country and 5 years of service before the war, is that although things are escalating in the north and with Iran and everything, don't forget the hostages. Keep on advocating for them. Follow Bring Omer Home on Instagram. Get all the information you can. Know their names. And when there's a time to strike a deal, then go out and support whoever you need to support for a deal to be striked. And hopefully we can get all our people home. And so days don't turn into years of them being in Hamas captivity. Thank you.
Our Jewish tradition teaches us to celebrate our joy and lean on one another in challenging times. Many prayers, including the Mourner's Kaddish, require that we have at least 10 people. Our tradition knows that there is a sense of comfort and strength that comes with communal prayer and song. This afternoon, as we bring this moment to a close, we will join together. We encourage you to scroll through the faces on this screen, and while we can't have our arms wrapped around one another, we hope that you can feel the strength, love, and support of the BBYO community.
1 year later, and we continue to need to pray for a safe return of the hostages. Each time we recite this prayer, we hope it will be the last before these innocent souls are reunited with their families. מי שברך את אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, יוסף, משה ואהרון, דוד ושלמה, הוא יברך וישמור וינצור את נעדרי צבא ההגנה לישראל ואת השבויים בתוך שער אחינו בית ישראל, הנתונים בצרה ובשבייה. בעבור שהקהל מתפלל בעבורם, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, ויוציאם מחושך וצל מוות, ומסורותיהם ינתק, וממצוקותיהם יושיעם, וישיבם מהרה לחיק משפחותיהם, ונאמר אמן.
He who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Aaron, David, and Solomon, may he bless, preserve, and protect the captive and missing soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. May he rescue them from captivity and speedily restore them in peace, in the merit of the prayers of the holy assemblage who pray for them. May the Holy One, blessed be he, show them mercy, take them out of darkness and the shadow of death, increase their strength, remove their pain, and send them a recovery of body and spirit. May he return them to the bosom of their family swiftly and soon. And let us say, Amen.
In these trying times, as our brothers and sisters in Israel endure war and suffering, our prayers become a bridge, connecting us to those who long for peace, for safety, for the return of their loved ones. Each word we utter carries the weight of our deepest hopes, our collective strength, and the belief that even in darkness, light will prevail. Prayer is more than words. It is a lifeline that binds us across oceans and time. It holds our shared resilience, reminding us that we are never alone. In praying for the return of the hostages, for healing and peace, we offer not only our voices, but our hearts. Let our prayers rise as one, a testament to our enduring belief that love and justice will overcome. Every prayer is important. Every single one of our voices is meaningful, because when we all wish for a pure cause, our voices can be heard all the way to the sky. We will now invite Gali to read the prayer for the state of Israel.
אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו,
ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו. הגן עליה בעברת חסדך, ופרוס עליה סוכת שלומך. ושלח אורך ואימתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך. חזק את ידי מגני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה ועטרת, ניצחון תעטרם. ונתת שלום בארץ, ושמחת עולם לישביה, ונאמר אמן.
The Hatikvah, Israel's national anthem, translates to the hope. During these times, although it may seem difficult, we must not lose our hope. It is critical that we stand together and remain strong, looking towards a brighter and stronger and safer future. As we sing the Hatikvah, carry that hope together.
כל עוד בלבב בנימה, נפש יהודי הומייה, ולפתי מזרח קדימה, עין לציון צופיה. עוד לא עבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון בירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון לירושלים.
As we conclude this moment of reflection, let us carry the memories of those we lost on October 7th, 2023, with us in our hearts. The pain of that day reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of standing together as a community. But it also inspires us to move forward with courage, compassion, and a renewed commitment to our shared values. As the flame of this memorial candle continues to burn, let its light continue to guide our actions, reminding us to build a future rooted in peace, unity, and resilience. May we honor the past by fostering a world where such tragedies never happen again.
As you continue to process living through this time, know that your BBYO community is here to support you. Reach out to your staff, get together with alumni in your region, explore resources to learn more, and most importantly, celebrate your Jewish joy and lean on one another when you need.
Eric will close our time together with music. After Noam Dahari, our Director of Israel Engagement, will be keeping the Zoom open for an informational space for you to continue your conversations, share your thoughts, or simply connect with one another.
Every day, this day, and tomorrow, and the tomorrow that is yet to come, we just ask that you are there for one another as you have been up until this point, and that we make sure that none of us are alone in the days ahead. Open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. If your heart is my heart and my heart is everything, aren't we all part of one heart? So let your heart be my heart and our heart be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one heart. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our